And I'm referred to in this community a lot as Junior, but that's okay. My real name is Walter, and that's okay to use it too, so it's okay. I start out a little bit. I was drafted in about 1953, and I really was unhappy that I had to go to the military, but you know, it was just like all the other Korean veterans. Not all of them, but most of them were drafted, or some volunteered. But I was drafted. I was sent to Camp Chaffee, Arkansas for my basic training. And the basic training was the same as about everybody else, and it's tough. It was really tough. And they asked me, what part of the military or what would you like to get involved in? I said, well, I'm a farmer and I'd like to be in maybe work with motors and engines. So they sent me to a school, motor school. The school was actually in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And I went through that school, and then they sent me to Fort Lewis, Washington. And I thought, Korea, here I come. This was about the time when Korea War was just about over. And they sent me out there, and I thought I would be on a ship, but they put me in another training group. There was tanks. They had these tanks, and since I took some training as far as mechanics, there was about 4 of us that worked in this group together. And, you know, there was about 6 or 8 tanks. Then there was 4 or 5 or 6 trucks, and basically all this is training, you know, how to take care of a situation when you're involved. And it was really kind of fun to see this tank up. These guys, man, they take these tanks out, they go real fast and swing around and park them and hardly get the tanks hardly stop, and then they'd fire a gun at an old car about 2 or 3 miles away. It was really kind of fun to be, but basically my job was there and the little crew I was with, the 3 or 4 guys, if things didn't work, we were supposed to fix it and make it run. Well, after I was there a little while, they sent me, here we go, 36-day delay en route to Germany. And part of the reason, I think, because the Korean War was just kind of coming to an end, and they didn't quite know where to put us. So they sent me to Germany, and when I got to Germany, they sent me to school again. So at Fusen, Germany, which is a beautiful spot, right at, there wasn't any snow there, but right at the bottom of a ski lift, and just the country, the southwest Germany. And then after I left that school, they put me at a base at Hanau, which is close to Frankfurt in Germany. And this group spent a lot of time doing maneuvers and training, but basically it was now I'm going to go back to World War II a little bit. After World War II, you see Russia, Britain, and United States, they kind of won the war together with the collection. And so what they did to divide out the kind of eastern section, the western section and northwestern section kind of went to Germany. The southeast section went to United States, and this is kind of generalization. And then Russia ended up with that on the east side, which was closest to their country. So you see, here was the former line of the old Russian-German border. Okay, after the division, Russia gets this portion, you know, of this new space that used to be Germany. Well, the problem was, you see, all these people that lived in Germany, which was now a part of the Russian, they were all evacuating, and in the history somewhere you've heard about this Great Wall, and our group spent a lot of time not running up and down the side of the wall, and it really wasn't a wall. In the city it was a wall, but basically it was an area about the width of a football field, had a big electric fence down the middle, and then on each side of this fence they had another electric fence out there, and then the Russians would patrol that all the time with a Jeep. And this was the time of the Cold War, what they called the Cold War, you know, with Russia. We didn't quite know, we weren't real friendly with them, we weren't having real problems with them, we just didn't know what to think about these guys. And that's where I spent most of my time, fixing. And you see, in this outfit was a artillery group. Now, artillery is a big gun. It's got two wheels and it's pulled by a tracked vehicle. And this tracked vehicle, it would haul about 6 or 8 people, enough people to man the gun when they parked it. And basically, here we go again. There was, I think, these tracked vehicles, now there's probably 6 or 8, I don't know exactly, remember. See, then there was 3 or 4 Jeeps and trucks and to haul the ammo, and well, I was a soldier and I had carried my gun and in the beginning with the training, and I was available to be a soldier, but basically I turned out to be kind of like a filling station attendant that we worked out of a truck. We had our tools in. So my military experience was basically fixing things that didn't run, but there was a need for me. But I feel kind of guilty or something when, you know, we have these days where everybody asks, you know, events on holidays where they ask the veterans to stand up. Well, I served my time, but I wasn't in any place where I ever shot at or had the opportunity, not that I wanted to be. So I feel kind of guilty because some of these guys really went through tough stuff. And here I had my toolbox following these broken down trucks. But they kind of needed me. Now, I've kind of gone on and on here, but that's kind of the story of my military life. And it was a good life because when in Germany, they had what they call the USO, and I don't exactly know what the USO stands for. But it was a thing for recreation for soldiers who were around there, and on weekends sometimes they would put bus tours up and you could go to different places in Germany and different countries. So I had the opportunity to travel Germany, and it was a part of life. Oh, I just dreaded it, but now that I look back, I'm glad it was a part of the 2 years I put in. Now, anything you want to ask me? I kind of told the whole big story here, but it was a good life.
Okay, so like before you were like drafted, where were you living?
Well, I'm just 2 miles south and 1 west of Elmwood, where we live now. Yes, I was farming. You know, I got out of high school and I was kind of farming with my dad, and then we got this letter in the mail that, hey, you will report, and you had no other choice but report.
Do you have any memorial experiences that you remember?
Well, oh yes, there's some things like, one thing particularly, like I told you, the main base was at Hannah, but we spent a lot of time over next to the border, and we had a truck one time where the power steering went out, and we had to drive that thing all the way, practically halfway across Germany without power steering. We'd get in these little towns and make these turns, and, you know, but yes, that was an experience.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
No, no.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
Mainly by letter, you know. Now they had, it was just by letter, yes.
What was the food like?
Well, it was, people, a lot of people, fellas, didn't like it. Hey, it was okay, you know, I mean, it wasn't a steak dinner every night, but it was okay.
Was there something special you guys did for good luck?
Pardon, say that again?
Was there something you guys did special for good luck?
Not really, no, no.
How did you guys like entertain yourself? Like, was there any entertainers for you guys?
Well, they had a special room in this one barracks that was kind of like a room about a little bigger than this, that, oh, they had a pool table, and there was places set around that, for people, guys to write letters home and things like that.
Was there any humorous or unusual events that took place?
Oh, I can't, yes there was, but you know, when people get together, they have fun as a rule, you know, and that's kind of it.
Did you guys pull any pranks on other people?
Oh, of course not. Yeah, well, you know, it was, you know, it's just normal people do ornery things, but it was okay.
What did you think of your fellow soldiers and officers?
I think that, like, especially in basic training, they kind of got carried away sometimes. They really enjoyed being this big tough guy, you know, and what do? You accept what they demand of you. And, you know, they say, if there's something you don't want to do, eventually you'll do it because they'll make other situations so tough that you wish you had it.
Do you recall the day your service ended?
Yes, I do. I ended up, they shipped us back. Well, actually, went over to Germany. I was on a boat, you know, and it was about the 7th floor under the water way down there, and they didn't like that at all. But when we came back, they treated us, boy, they'd give us a beautiful room. The last night, a beautiful room, and we were living in luxury that last day. It was fun.
What did you do in the days and weeks afterward?
I mean, after we got out, well, I come back to the farm and home where I live now.
Did you work or go back to school?
Basically, I worked and they had it was a kind of a schooling went to. It was put on through Accenture. It was for soldiers who come back, and like some people went to college, you see. This was for farmers, and it was a matter of education to help me be a better farmer, I guess.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Yes, I did. I met a lot of good friends, but the trouble is, and I told you, as I told you, I told how many different places I was. I lost track of a lot of them, you know. And I did keep in contact with one of the mechanics that we worked with, but we've kind of lost it now, because that was quite a few years ago, you know.
How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Oh, I can't help think that, you know, when, you know, it was good, you know, but like I say, I feel kind of guilty in a way because I really hit it lucky. You know, I got involved in something I enjoyed doing, and this is still a part of my life, fixing things, making motors run. But I don't hardly consider myself a soldier. Of course, I had my rifle and all that and took real good care of it when it was responsible, but I was lucky. It was a good deal.
Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
Well, at this time, no, not really. But we hope we've done what you needed to have. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Can you show us what you brought?
Oh, yeah. Well, like some of the areas I was involved in, the schools and stuff like that. And here, look at this. Honorable discharge. How about that? Okay. All right. You see there the two different schools I was involved with.
Were you able to benefit from any of the military programs after you came home, like GI Bill or anything like that?
Well, that's
schooling?
that was that schooling a little bit, but it was okay. The thing is, it was basically set up for people who had no knowledge of farming at all.
Sure.
And here not that we knew it all, but we've been involved. Yeah.
Sure.
It was okay, and that's where I really met a lot of good friends, because there's people in the community, you know, and it took in a bigger area than just community,
Sure.
this community.
Sure. Very cool. Very neat experience, even though you didn't actually serve in Korea. I mean,
No.
the job that you
Yeah.
did was really important. And
This is all over with now, but I should have mentioned, and this is the thing that I thought was real ridiculous, one of these maneuvers, you know, we was out there, you know, with of course, we were always a part of it to make sure things run, and this one thing, they were, you know, set up that we're supposed to protect ourselves and guiding, getting away from this mysterious enemy, and then they come over an airplane and drop flour sacks, little sacks. We see, that was like a bomb, you know, when that flour sack would hit, pooh, you know. That was one thing, other kind of unique.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That flower.
Yeah.
That probably would have been pretty funny the first couple times.
But it was a good trip,
Yeah.
and I was lucky.
Have you been back to Germany since then?
At least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Well, we see, our family came from that area, and my wife's family, the Stoke family, they came from there. We visited there, and when I was over there, I had the opportunity to travel a little bit. Myron Oehlerking, who's a cousin, we met, and we had opportunity we ended up in Greece, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Athens, Greece, and besides a lot of the countries around close to Germany. So it was,
Wow.
you know, not everybody did this, but, you know, we tried to make the best of the situation.
Sure.
It was good.
How close were you to the Russians that were patrolling their side of the?
Oh, well, just on the other side of the fence sometimes,
Yeah.
you know.
Was that ever
Well,
scary?
you know,
or?
no, it wasn't, because there really wasn't anything going on other than they would take and anybody who tried to cross it, it was just immediate death. You know?
Right.
Yeah. And it was basically put up to keep their former Germans, now part of the Russian, from coming into the United States, the American sector. And, well, you know, you'll probably all read a little bit about the wall.
Mhm.
It was an experience.
What did you think when they tore the wall down and the?
Oh,
What,
well, my vision was, well, after we went back a few years back with the family, and in the city, it was a cement wall, you know, it really was, but out in the open area where, like I said, it was just actually 3 electric fence, the main fence, and then those where the Jeeps would go. And I mean, it's, wow, why can't these people settle down, you know? And they said it was the reason, they built the fence, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they said the reason it was put there is to get these imperialist people or blah, blah, people from the United States not to come in and ruin their country. That was, but really, the real reason was to keep the former German people from escaping.
Good job.
Oh, well, we tried.
Thank you very much for
Well,
coming in. We really appreciate your time.